So Patty Ann's going to give a wave when
Okay,
ready.
perfect. I would be happy at this point just to. Hey. Perfect. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as Patty gives me the wave, we're good to go. Where is Patty?
She was escorting somebody to their seat right now.
Okay. Perfect.
Does the song loop or is it, are they going to make
Yeah.
it in?
No, it loops. And if it doesn't, just hit play again. I think we should. Ron was looping it. Like we timed it 2 or 3 times.
Did you say anything first? Do I just music now or you
As soon as Patty. Okay, hit it. the class of 2023. Every single year. Bundada Hunzu, good afternoon, and welcome to the Fraser Lake Elementary Secondary School graduation ceremonies for the class of 2023. My name is Brian Cross, and I have the privilege of being the principal of this school every day, and especially today. Before we get started, there's a few housekeeping items to note. Please note, we ask that there be no smoking on school property. In the event of an emergency, the emergency exits are to my immediate right, your left at the front and back, and to my left, your right at the rear of the gymnasium. While we understand that today is a momentous occasion for our grads and their families, we have a busy agenda to get through, and we ask that you save your personal congratulations until the conclusion of the ceremony when our grads will be lined up outside. Our aisles are set up for your safety in the event of an emergency, and we ask that you do your part in keeping them clear. If you need a washroom, they're out in the foyer immediately to your left, and then also down past the juice machine. At this point, I've put my cell phone onto airplane mode. I made the kids leave theirs upstairs, and I'd ask you to join me in putting our phones on airplane mode. If you've got little kids and the ceremony gets a touch long, we have babysitting available in the activity room, which is just outside the gym to your right, through the double doors, and then an immediate right again. I'd now ask the audience and the grads to rise and join me in the singing of O Canada. O Canada, a home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. You want to go do the arms now? All right, we're just going to do a quick little set change here. So while Mr. Leduc's taking care of the banisters and getting them out of the picture frame, we've been really fortunate this year, and it's cool that I get to publicly acknowledge the work that the education coordinators at Notleywood 10 and Stellatin First Nation did over the last summer. Sue Ketlow and Angela Reynolds did a ton of work to get us some grants, and out of that grant, we were fortunate to have an artist in residence this year. And at this time, I would like to call Miss Candace George to the stage for a traditional land acknowledgement and welcome.
Hari, Deniza Dakaiza Skaiza, Susie Candace George Sahatni. I just want to acknowledge that we are on the unceded, unsurrendered traditional territory of the Stellatin and the Notleywood peoples of the Daaketh Nation. I was honored to work with the students at FLESS. I was honored to work with the students in grade 12. And at this time, I want to share a song to honor all students, not only all students, in the work that they did together. But I also want to honor the Indigenous students that are up here and acknowledge them as well, because it's so important to hold up Indigenous peoples. Because education was it's been tough for Indigenous peoples, and it's really important to see Indigenous peoples, young people shine. And so I'm honored to be here, and I was honored to work with them this year. And I just wanted to say congratulations to not only all of my babies, but to the graduating class of 2023. And I'm going to sing the Luxiliu clan song.
Thank you, Candace. I'd like to welcome our friends, our family, our grandparents, our aunties, our uncles, and our extended families that are joining us both here in person today and on our live stream. As you're going to hear from many people today, it's a little bit of a big deal, and I know our grads are thrilled that so many people have been able to join us. And I have to say, it is really nice to see the stands absolutely packed again. At this time, we have a number of guests today who we'd like to acknowledge. From School District 91, Superintendent of Schools, Ms. Carla Mitchell. Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Mike Skinner. Our Director of Instruction, Indigenous Education, Ms. Leona Prince. And the Chair of the Board of Trustees of School District 91, Mr. Dave Christie. I'd also like to acknowledge Fraser Lake Mayor Sarah Story, Regional District Director, Mr. Mark Parker, and Slaton First Nation Education Coordinator, Ms. Angela Reynolds. What I'd really like to acknowledge at this time is the support that this community puts into our little school. Later on today, during the grads' Candlebearer narrations, you'll get to hear about the scholarships that they're collecting. I am proud to say that every one of the 23 grads who put in scholarship applications will be receiving at least one scholarship, and those scholarships will total over $41,000. And I would now like to call to the stage Mr. Dave Christie to say a few words on behalf of School District 91.
Thank you, Principal Cross, and thank you, Candace, for such a great opening. On behalf of the Nechako Lakes Board of Education, I'd like to honor the 2023 FLESS graduates here today. Recognize the hard work and years of dedication it has taken to finally be on this stage. I'd also like to recognize and honor many families, friends, school district staff who have helped and supported these graduates to get them where they are today and ready for the next chapter of their life. The class of 2023 started high school much differently than many other classes before it. A worldwide pandemic canceled classes, forced online learning, and really had many unknowns. The point being, life threw many difficult curveballs at you when you started your high school journey. Yet here you are today as grade 12 graduates. As you move forward to the next chapter of your life, more curveballs will come your way. Don't give up. Remember what you have already overcome. Rely on your family and peer supports to knock it out of the park. Always believe in your abilities, find your passion, and never forget to accept challenges life will set out for you. On behalf of the Board of Education, we wish you well on the next stage of your journey, where you get to reinvent yourselves and discover passions you didn't know you had. We, your family, friends, and community members, will be here cheering for you just as we are today. Congratulations, 2023 FLESS Grads.
Thanks, Dave. Every year we put to the grads to fill the role of our next speaker. This speaker comes on stage on behalf of the parents and speaks from his or her own heart with the thoughts of the parents in mind. We know that getting these kids up here is not an easy task, and it truly does take a village to raise a child. This year's parent speaker is part of our school community. He's taught them about chemistry. He's taught them about biology. He's even taught them about geography. It is my privilege to introduce this year's grad selection for the parent speaker, Mr. Duncan Wood.
Thank you, graduates, for nominating me to be your parent speaker today. Distinguished guests, staff, parents, guardians and friends, my name is Duncan Wood. I'm Xander's dad. Home theatre, art studio, home office, home gym, games room. According to Google, these are the top 5 things you can turn a child's bedroom into when they leave home. As fun as all of these might sound, they could never replace our kids. I remember back to when Xander first started kindergarten in Australia in 2010. We saw his graduation year being 2023. It seemed like an eternity away, yet here we are. For many of our graduates, today represents not only the culmination of high school, but also the first claw on the side of the nest, getting ready to make the leap into the wide open world beyond. Some of these little birdies may need a little coaxing yet, but that's okay. The nest is warm and cozy after all. I feel incredibly lucky to have been both a parent and a teacher to our son, and a teacher to many of these awesome kids. I feel like I know most of them very well, but I stand here today just as a dad. As a parent, we see the other side of schooling. We try to help them with their homework. We commiserate with them over a bad test score. We celebrate a sporting victory with them. We remind them to get their work handed in on time. We groan when they bring home the fundraising for chocolates and flowers and Christmas decorations and bake sales and mom's pantry and coffee houses and firewood and dances and food hampers and raffles and 50-50s and silent auctions. Yeah. We laugh at their stories. We chuckle when we say yes to that inevitable question. Can so-and-so stay the night? And they get so excited. We remind them to get their work handed in on time. We cry when their first crush breaks up with them. We pretend that we don't know that they stole a beer out of the fridge. We remind them to get their work handed in on time. We worry like crazy when they get their driver's license. We praise their appearance when they get ready for their first school dance. We roll our eyes when they invite that particular friend over. Don't we, Logan? Don't we? The thing is, we're all so excited for you and what your future holds. This group has a lot of potential. For example, Daniel wants to work on exotic cars. Jessica wants to operate heavy lift cranes at the Port of Vancouver. Sean wants to be an internet influencer so he can get free Starbucks. Jane wants to dissect Guatemalan fruit spiders. Ada wants to marry Chris Hemsworth. They all have such fascinating and diverse interests. If there's one cliche that all parent speakers use, it's the phrase, "If I can give you one piece of advice," who am I to break with tradition? Here is mine. The Nobel Prize in Chemistry, 1977, was awarded to Ilya Prigogine for his contributions to non-equilibrium thermodynamics, particularly the theory of dissipative structures. I bet you that paper is a real page-turner. Anyway, apparently Ilya Prigogine said, "The way to cope with the future is to create it." That's just classic Ilya Prigogine. Pretty cool though. The way to cope with the future is to create it. Can you really create your own future? How do you create your own future? Does complaining create your future? No. Does waiting for something awesome to just come and find you create your future? No. Does taking a training course or getting work experience in a field you're interested in, does asking advice from people or making a plan for achieving your goals create your future? It sure does. I would say that one thing that high school can't teach you is life experience. You need to get out there and live. The world is large and wonderful. There are people and places out there just waiting for a fresh-faced Fraser-like high school graduate to inspire and shape. And I encourage you to go out there and be inspired and be shaped. Try something. If you don't like it, try something else. It doesn't matter how many times you try. Because while you're trying, you're learning. Learning what you like, what you don't like. Learning what drives you crazy. Learning what you should always do. Or maybe learning what you should never do again. It doesn't matter, because that cozy nest of home will be here when you get back. If it turns out that what you want is right here, great. But how can you know for sure? All this said, I also don't think that your whole life needs to be decided right here and now. What you do next is not set in stone. You may choose to study more, study something different, take a year off, work in the People's Republic of Uzbekistan, helping to feed refugees. Maybe you might even decide to go to university when you're 35 years old and do that while you're living on a single income with 2 kids under the age of 5 at home, mortgaged up to your eyeballs and spending all your money on Thomas the Tank Engine toys and Thomas the Tank Engine related accessories, because for one of your kids, Thomas is life. You don't have to get it right straight away. Just don't stop trying. You will never stop learning. Graduates, enjoy this day of celebration. When you leave this building, remember that your parents and guardians did the best that we could to get you here. The rest is up to you. But please make sure that you share the ups and downs with us, because we'll always be here for you. Congratulations, class of 2023.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we just won't look at each other. Earlier this year, one of these fine young men and women next to me looked over and said, "Cross, I can't believe it's been 7 years. It went kind of quick." And they were both very right and very wrong at the same time. You see, it has been 7 years, and I will confess that some of those days seemed to last an eternity. But what some of you don't know is I've known many of these kids much longer than that. And hold that thought, because I'll come back to it in a sec. Ladies and gentlemen, family members, moms, dads, uncles, aunties, Atsus, Atsiens, extended community members, staff, and of course, the grads of 2023, welcome to today. We didn't get here by accident. In fact, this whole production has been a bit of an 18-year-long game, and the players have been many. As a community, we have seen these 31 souls next to me become who they are today. So, As we start off, I need to explain this grad class has hit just a little bit different for me than past ones. For one, I went back into the classroom this year and I was their grad transitions teacher. We spent a few hours a week together for the first part of the year, and I think it's fair to say we learned quite a lot about each other during those hours. For two, my oldest also graduated 2 weeks ago. I don't know why that made this year different, but it did. But we do have a running joke here when one of them asks, "Who's your favorite?" And the answer is always the same. It's a 321-way tie for third place. So, back to getting to know them. In the spring of either 2010 or 2011, Mrs. Cross and I did what many of the parents here tonight did. We signed our kids up for soccer. And then we went to weekend tournament after weekend tournament in the sun and the rain and the rain and the wind and the rain and a little bit more rain. And we played games in Fraser Lake. And among those people on the field the first day, mostly picking dandelions, were the following, and I didn't get all of you, but some of the ones I remember. There was a really short blonde girl, and we really quickly learned to fear her. She feared nothing, stood down from nobody, was just a little bit competitive, and had a pretty deadly shot. We had a goalie who we learned to grudgingly respect with his giant goalie mitts that stopped way too many shots. We had a skinny guy with long hair who ran like the wind. And we really miss him today. There was a really tall blonde girl who we quickly learned to steer clear of because she was a little mean and she'd thump you. And then she'd thump you again for good measure. And over the next few years, we'd see each other at the start of every summer, and honestly, none of us had any idea how our paths were going to ultimately cross. Fast forward to last week, and I spent Monday night, of all places, at the Fraser Lake soccer field. Not much had changed. The competitive ones were still competitive, the fast ones were still fast. The goalie developed a really mean barrel roll that we all pretty much felt was acting and completely unnecessary, but it really looked good. Except over the past 7 years, this group that I saw once or twice a year became a group that I saw daily. I'm beyond proud to tell all of you that the dandelion pickers have grown into a fine group of young men and women. I'll also tell you that their plans for the future are going to knock your socks off in a few minutes. We have future surgeons, massage therapists, x-ray techs, kinesiologists, conservation officers, welders, heavy-duty mechanics, psychologists, and I have absolutely no doubt that in the next 10 years, we'll get to see this group achieve what was one of the ultimate goals in grad transitions this year, where one of the students wrote that their goal was to be a success. Among the things that we learned over the past while that I would be remiss in not mentioning, we learned the following. We learned that a man cold will get you out of PE 8. We learned that heyday will not help you pass English 12. We got over our fear of squirrels. We are continuing to work on our fear of actually speaking to a human being on the phone. We learned what the study of rocks is, and significantly more importantly, what it is not. We are working on adding vegetables and sauces to our plates because meat and cheese does not make a taco. We have learned the importance of reading our emails every single day, right, Xander? They assure me that reading their emails every day is something only old people do. We have learned that our passwords are very important things and that no, Cross has no idea what your password is. We have learned that the following are considered valuable life tools: knowing our phone numbers, knowing our street addresses, and knowing what email address we use. Ninja skills are specifically not a valuable life skill, which is good because contrary to what some of these guys will tell you, we don't have a lot of them. We have some really awesome nicknames, right, Weaselfoot? We learned that the phrase, "I have a bone to pick with you," can really only mean one thing, much like spiking a physics textbook on the floor on your way out of the office, or dropping a really good, "I don't want to" foot stomp. More importantly, we learned that there aren't a lot of things that a cup of coffee in the office can't fix pretty quick. These are the memories I'm going to take and hold close to my heart when I think of this group. In closing tonight, I'm going to leave the 31 of you with this. You're going to hear that you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. And I don't buy this notion at all. You can absolutely choose your family. This is true because family are the people who lift you up, who help you reach the heights you can't reach by yourself, and who rearrange their schedules so we can do this today. There is no reason that such a group needs to be arbitrarily limited to blood relatives. Life is short, so it's best spent with those who you love. Thank you for being an arbitrary group of dandelion pickers who made my life better every single day. Suan Re, Spa Des Te, in Casey, be well, I'm proud of you, and I'm moderately fond of some of you most of the time. And now we're going to have a bit of a tech handoff because our next speaker voted on by the grads is a beloved teacher in the building who's good for a board game, a bad joke, a wager that I will lose every single stinking time, and was this year's selection for the grads to share his wisdom. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Ryan Mickelson.
I speak today to celebrate your excellence, to share memories of the 4 years I have walked with you on your journey, and to provide some final words for you as you walk forward on your own paths. I have had the good fortune to watch and witness your growth as learners and as members of the communities we live in. I've had as much fun learning from you as I had teaching you. For example, you taught me, an English teacher, several lessons on grammar and vocabulary. One, that there are additional meanings to the words dab, floss, and slay. And two, that there is an important distinction between vibe and not a vibe. I can also credit you for having invented the descriptive adjective sequence, Daniel's sick pharmacy beats. But I remember a great deal of other things besides lessons. I remember that you built everything from chessboards to headboards, everything from maces to monuments. I remember that you overcame everything from COVID to crutches, to chemistry, to cross. I remember that you cooked everything from cabbages to chiffon cakes. I remember that you ate everything. You played every sport under the sun, in the snow, on the ice, or anywhere. It didn't matter if there wasn't enough subs, you just stayed on. It didn't matter if there wasn't a field, you just played under a roof. It didn't matter if the opponents were taller, you had a secret weapon and a whole team full of ballers. You designed and organized plays on the field like you organized the pictures in the yearbook you made, putting everything in its place, like the poetry you left on whiteboards and on the backs of worksheets. You made the classrooms your canvas, leaving stanzas and signatures to be found as a record of your imagination, a magical world like the ones you drew for the cafeteria. And when you went beyond the worlds of the school, you didn't paint the town red, you painted red-headed rainbow. You found the confidence to speak for yourself, found the boldness to speak truth to power, and had every classroom listening to your calls to action. You took the biggest of small steps to make sure that history will stay in your socials textbooks instead of repeating itself, and that the future is possible and full of potential. You calculated everything from the laws of physics to the lines in paychecks, but the best equation you ever wrote was that 18 is equal to the sum total of a forever friendship. And so don't ever for a moment think that you are not ready for the world, because the reality loud and clear is that the world is not ready for you. I have watched you find the courage to show up on your worst day, wipe your tears away at the bottom of the big stairs, and climb to the top of them triumphant, ready with a smile on your face and fire in your eyes, because no one is going to keep you down, because nothing is going to stop you. These are memories of who you are. Now, at the end, at the last, I'm supposed to provide you with some final words. I can't personally think of anything more meaningful to say than to honor what you have done here in the years I have witnessed you on your learning journey. But I will say this: learning does not stop when the last question on the page is done, or when the final assignment is handed in, or when the exam is over. Learning is forever and always. We as human beings have learned together long before you got here and shall continue to learn long after your time. All of what you learn and all of the little pieces of knowledge that you share will resonate for generations and echo in eternity. What you have learned matters. What you will learn will matter, whether you do your learning at home or at a school or in the field. Your learning matters because all of you matter. Your brightness and your spirit will illuminate the world for a long time. And so it is with great joy to say that my final words to you all are simply that I am proud of you. I am proud of all of you. All of us are proud of you, all of us who are here, and all of us who aren't. Please join me with your applause in celebration of this class.
Thank you, Mr. Mickelson. It's now my pleasure to introduce this year's valedictorian. He is graduating with a 4.0 GPA. He will be attending UNBC in the fall, and he has career aspirations in the medical field. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Zanderwood.
To my fellow graduates and all of our guests who have gathered here today, I am honored to be standing here as the class of 2023's valedictorian. Today, we have all come to celebrate the culmination of our hard work, dedication, and our unwavering drive. We stand before you as the testament to the strength of ambition, the pursuit of excellence, and the power of procrastination. Throughout our academic journey, drive has been our steadfast companion, pushing us forward, inspiring us to reach new heights, and keeping our dreams alive. Drive is the inner fire that ignites our passion and fuels our determination. It is the little voice inside of us that whispers, "You can do it," even when doubt tries to cloud our minds. Drive is not just about setting goals. It's about relentlessly pursuing them, even in the face of adversity. It's the fuel that propels us through challenges and transforms them into stepping stones towards success. When we embark on this educational odyssey, we knew it would demand significant effort, late nights, panic attacks, and sacrifices. But we were undeterred because we possess that unyielding drive to excel. We pushed through countless assignments, exams, presentations, and enough mild to extreme existential crises for the entire world, all while never losing sight of our aspirations. We understood that success does not come easily, and we were willing to put in the work to make our dreams a reality. While drive propels us forward, it is also important to acknowledge the role of failure in our journey. It is the bitter and overly annoying pill we must swallow at times, but it teaches us an invaluable lesson. It challenges our drive, forcing us to adapt, grow, and become stronger. Failure reminds us that success is not guaranteed, sometimes by kicking us when we're already down, but it can be a pivotal point in deciding how we grow. And as we stand here, on the threshold of a new chapter, as cliche as that sounds, let our drive continue to guide us. Let it fuel our ambitions, pushing us to explore uncharted territories and embrace new challenges. Let it remind us that the greatest limitations we face are often self-imposed, and that, with the right amount of determination, there is no limit we cannot overcome. Fellow graduates, as we leave this place and embark on different paths, let us not forget the power of drive. Let it be the compass that steers us towards our dreams, the fuel that propels us through obstacles, and the reminder that greatness lies within our reach. The road may not always be smooth, but our indomitable spirit will carry us through. I am honored to have shared this interesting journey with each and every one of you, and congratulations to the graduating class of 2023. Our futures are bright, and together we can and will make our mark on this world. Thank you.
Each year, the grad class presents a gift to the school, and on behalf of the grad class this year, I'd like to introduce Miss Ireland Webb.
Cross is going to hate that it's on my phone, but he's going to have to live with it. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. For this year's grad gift to the school, I made a petition for the grads to choose what they wanted. With a week left in the school year, 5 people had signed it. Cross said everyone had to sign it, so I made another one, and after a few days of panic, not knowing what we were going to have, thankfully, everyone signed it. And so, I brought it to Cross again, to which he replied, "Webb, a petition is supposed to have last names on it. Do it again." And my heart kind of stopped. You'd think after so many years, I'd be able to tell when Cross is joking or not. So, on behalf of the class of 2023, our grad gift to the school is new pennies for PE classes.
And now I'd like to introduce Miss Jelius Anderson. And Mr. Sean Stewart. You got this.
Today we remember Adnaz Fulton, who couldn't be on stage with us, but will forever be in our hearts. Addie left us too soon, however, we all have great memories of our times with him. The little things remind me about Addie. I think everyone can say the same. His impact spread across our grade. For example, he used to bike to my house without telling his mom. He was my bus buddy until we were old enough and stopped taking the bus. We all played musical chairs for hours. Throughout his life, he made friends wherever he went. He always had a huge smile on his face. He was very involved in sports, playing hockey, baseball, and soccer on numerous teams. Addie and the boys used to play baseball in the hallways with the Digger 9000, they called it. A few of his many friends have put together a baseball team for him. Even though we've never played, we play for him every time we step onto that field. He's very loved by his family and friends and will never be forgotten. In honor of our best friend that we all consider family, we would like to give these grad caps and yearbooks to his mom Tanya and his grandma Nancy. We love you, Addie.
Head on down. Go to the back aisle on the left. All the way to the back on the left. All right. At this point in the program, we get to move to the audiovisual presentation for the grads. So I'm going to give the grads a second to head down there and get comfy so you can watch the screen. You're going to want to see this. Head on down. We'll wait for you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Are you ready? Okay. Cadence Jeanette Adeline Albanet. Cadence started her education in Prince George before attending Mouse Mountain, then coming to FLESS in grade 4. Keep going. Cadence would like to thank her mom and dad for pushing her through school, and her cousin Anastasia, who is more like a sister and has been there for her every day. Cadence would also like to thank Cross, Brandy, Scar, and Mrs. Dirksen for helping her get her work done and supporting her when she needed it. Cadence would like to thank her best friend, Jade Goodman, and Jordan for being there for her and being her rock. Cadence will always remember her times in the smoke pit crew. Cadence plans to attend CNC and get her ECE diploma. Her last words are, "I hope to see none of you at the grocery store in the future." Cadence's Candlebearer is her cousin Pius Harris. Cadence is the recipient of the FLESS Alumni Scholarship. Oh. Hope Maria Jean Belcom. Hope came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in grade 4. She would like to thank her mom and dad for raising her, Mr. Cross, Mrs. Scar, Mr. Leduc, and Mrs. Dirksen, Mrs. Best, and Ms. Materi for keeping her motivated. She would also like to thank Dakota for all their adventures, Connor for supporting her, and Dre for being entertaining. Hope will fondly remember bugging Mr. Cross and Mr. Leduc and hanging with her friends. Hope plans to attend college to become a counselor. Her last words are, "The darkest nights have the brightest days." Her Candlebearer is her family friend, Sophia. Hope is the recipient of the Fraser Lake Fire Rescue Scholarship. Bailey Antonia Campbell. Bailey attended Fort Fraser Elementary before coming to FLESS in grade 4. She would like to thank her mom and dad for all their support, Auntie Brandy and Scar for bullying her to get her work done and helping her when she needed help. She would also like to thank her friends, Ella May, Emma, Braden, for helping her get through a lot. She wouldn't have laughed as much as she had if they weren't there. Bailey will fondly remember all the basketball, soccer, volleyball trips, hanging out with her friends, and taking Braden's hat and running away. Bailey plans to attend CNC for welding. Her last words are, "Don't be afraid of failure. This is the way to succeed." Bailey's Candlebearer is her niece, Allison Heisler, and sister, Zahara. Bailey is the recipient of the Fraser Lake District Historical Society's Trade Scholarship, the Fraser Lake Sawmill Scholarship, and the Debbie Amaro Scholarship. Ugh. Can you grab my water? Jessica Kaya Capella. Jessica attended St. Mary's Elementary, Notre Dame Elementary, GHP Middle School, and MCHS before coming to FLESS in grade 11. She would like to thank her mother for always believing in her and pushing her to succeed. She would also like to thank Cross for helping her with college applications and Mr. Wood for making science interesting. Jessica would like to thank her friends Danielle and Xander for hanging out with her and keeping her entertained. Jessica plans to go to school for kinesiology and then work for sports teams. Her Candlebearer is her sister, Angelina. Jessica is the recipient of the Fraser Lake Sawmill Scholarship. Amy Elise Cochran. Amy attended Mouse Mountain before coming to FLESS in grade 4. She would like to thank her mom and dad for their unwavering support and ability to put up with her for the past 17 years. Her sisters, Kayleen and Sherry, for hitting all of the life milestones so that she doesn't have to do it, and for being pretty cool people. Amy would also like to thank Mrs. Scar, whose room was always open whenever she needed it. Congratulations on your retirement. Mr. Schmelik, she always looked forward to your classes, and thank you for the time and effort you put into making her years so great. A big thank you to her grade 8 social studies teacher, Ms. Shohan, for deepening her interest in history. Another big thanks to the counselors she has seen over the years for helping support her mental health. They must all be ecstatic to hand over her file to whomever she will be seeing at UNBC. Amy would also like to thank her best friend, her pal, her homeboy, her rotten soldier, her sweet cheese, her good time boy, Kay. You have kept me sane and silly, and I will miss seeing you every day. While the past years have been mostly a blur, and thinking about them would just make her cry, she does admit that photography field trips were pretty fun. Amy plans to get a BA in history and then see where that takes her. Her last words are, "I have borne witness to humanity's horrors, but by God, I stay silly." Amy's Candlebearer is her niece, Olivia Kennedy. Amy is the recipient of the MOE District Scholarship, the Fraser Lake Fire Rescue Scholarship, and the Centera Gold Bursary. Logan Nathaniel Cochran. Logan came to FLESS in 2014 from Mouse Mountain Elementary. He would like to thank his mom, Shanda, for pushing him aggressively to achieve all that he has and taking him to travel the world. His dad, Robert, for giving him the opportunity to quite easily outfish and outhunt him, and his grandma, Betty Sage, for helping him to get through E-Bus math, which was almost as bad as English. Hey. He would also like to thank his teachers, Mr. Wood, for making science the best part of every day and opening his passion for chemistry, Mrs. Nickel for being the best distraction in E-Bus and for all of the best debates, Mr. Cross for being worthy of opponent in calculus and getting tired after taking it 3 times. He would also like to thank his best friend, Travis, for being there ever since the first day of kindergarten, and Connor, Morris, and Ty for making woodshop so much better than his jokes. With all the jokes. He will always remember the hallway lectures after walking by Mr. Mickelson's classroom at the worst possible moment. Logan plans to study medicine at UNBC and pursue a career as a trauma surgeon with the International Red Cross. His last words are, "You can't fix stupid." Logan's Candlebearer is his cousin, Tristan Sage. Logan is the recipient of a Four Rivers Co-op Bursary, Fraser Lake Sawmill Scholarship, the FLESS Pulver Merrill Scholarship, the Fraser Lake District Medical Society Scholarship, and the Centera Gold Bursary. Selena Maria Kathleen Fitzgerald. Selena came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in 2014. She would like to thank her parents for their ongoing love and support, and her brother for pushing her to be better even without realizing. Yes, this means you too, Sean. She would like to thank Mrs. Scar for all the time and dedication to her students, Mr. Wood for being the realist teacher and letting us use cheat sheets, and all of her closest friends for all their good times and showing her what it was like to have true friendship. Selena will always remember all the sports trips and Quebec trip, the parking lot gatherings. Selena plans to go on to massage therapy in Vernon and then travel the world. Her last words are, "All this for a piece of paper and a handshake?" Selena is passing her knowledge to her future niece or nephew who is slightly late for the party. Selena is the recipient of the MOE District Scholarship, the Integris Credit Union Scholarship, and the Dry Grad Scholarship. Okay, ready? Connor Stephen Frizzell. Connor started his education in Hazelton before coming to FLESS in grade 10. He would like to thank his parents for helping him get through school, Mr. Ray, Mrs. Scar, Mrs. Bess, Mr. Cross, and Mr. Rothenbush for kicking his butt into gear whenever he felt like skipping class. He would also like to thank Hope for supporting him, Logan for helping him, Xander for being his gym bro, and Travis for hallway meme time. Connor will fondly remember smacking his head into the gym wall his first year here at FLESS, or maybe not remembering it. Connor's future plans are to see where life takes him, and his final words are, if life doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Connor's Candlebearer is his brother, Liam. Ada Sophia Harris. Ada came to FLESS from NVSS in 2021. She would like to thank her mom, Deanna, for always supporting her, Scar for always yelling at her to get her work done, and her friend Nova for making her laugh. Ariana for being a big help, and Bailey for supporting her through the tough times. Ada will always remember biology class with Nova, Ariana, and Patience. Ada plans to attend CNC for early childhood care and learning program. Her last words are, E. coli is life. Ada's Candlebearer is her cousin, Abrina Friesen. I forgot that. Yeah, okay. Jane Louise Hedstrom. Jane came to FLESS in 2017 after attending Blackburn Elementary for her early years. She would like to thank her parents for making her who she is today, and her sisters for pushing her to become a good role model. Jane would also like to thank Mr. Wood for his cheat sheets, Mr. Cross for all the support and advice, and her homies for all the memories. Jane will fondly remember the Quebec exchange trip and many sports trips. Jane plans to become a philanthropist. No. Physiotherapist, and her last words are, her last words are, how am I meant to make my life choices? I'm still singing the alphabet to see what letter comes next. Jane's Candlebearer is her sister, Maddie Hedstrom. Jane is the recipient of an MOE District Scholarship, the St. Andrews Catherine's Women's League Scholarship, the Faculty of CNC Recruitment Scholarship, the FLESS Parent Advisory Scholarship, and a Centera Gold Bursary. Emma Gail Ketlow. Emma came to FLESS in grade 6 from Foothills Elementary in Prince George. She would like to thank her parents for all their love and support, and her sisters for being pains in the butts. She would also like to thank Mrs. Dirksen, Mrs. Parsons, and Mrs. Zhang for being great teachers and supports. Emma would also like to thank Josh and Kaylee for always being there for her and for all the laughs. She will fondly remember summer picnics in the schoolyard. Emma plans to go on to post-secondary and study anthropology. Her last words are, and in this moment, I swear, we are infinite. Emma's Candlebearer is her sibling, Brielle Ketlow Batoa. Emma is the recipient of the David Bunting Bursary. Jordana Marie Diana Lorange Shallhorn. Jordana came to FLESS in grade 4 from Fort Fraser Elementary. She would like to thank her parents for their love and support and their push to make her get an education. She would also like to thank Mrs. Scar for pushing her in the right direction, Mr. Cross for making sure she was on track, and all her teachers for helping her to get where she is today. She would also like to thank her friends for the great laughs. Jordana plans to work and follow her dreams. Her last words are, no matter how powerful you become, don't try to shoulder anything along. Jordana's Candlebearer is her sister, Dania. Dakota Rianne Magnus. Dakota came to FLESS in grade 4 and would like to thank her parents for driving her around the province for one sport or another, Mrs. Scar for dealing with all of her nonsense, and Hope for not making school boring. Dakota will always remember the times she and Hope stole food from LeDuc's office and hid it on him. Dakota plans to attend CNC and get her red seal in heavy-duty mechanics. Her last words are, "Why try to fit in when you're born to stand out?" Dakota's Candlebearer is her sister, Abby. Dakota is the recipient of the Nancy's Nibbles Bursary, Yellowhead Road and Bridge Scholarship, and QP 4177 Scholarship. Danielle Ann Martin. Danielle came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in grade 4. She would like to thank her dad and her sisters for always being there for her and helping her get through school. She would also like to thank Mr. Cross for talking sense into her when she would come to him with yet another brilliant idea that would never have worked, and Jessica for always supporting her and her bad decisions and always going on adventures with her. Danielle will always remember going to Senior Dougie's every day at lunch with Jessica and getting matzo sticks. Danielle plans to move to Alberta to work on the oil rigs. Her last words are, "I hope my future is as bright as my check engine light." Danielle's Candlebearer is her sister, Haley Martin. Anastasia Marie McQueen Lewis. Anastasia started her education in Prince George, then came to Mouse Mountain in grade 2 before attending FLESS. She would like to thank Cadence, Brianna, and her mom, Auntie Kim, and Uncle Jeremy for all their love and support. She would also like to thank Brandy, Cross, Scar, Parsons, and Mickelson for being so helpful to her in school, especially when she was having a hard time and struggling. All 5 of you are sure mean a lot to me now. Anastasia would also like to thank her friends, Dawn, Tyobi, Domi, Rin, Hope, Connor, Dakota, for always being there for her throughout the ups and downs. You have all stuck with me even when others would have walked away. Anna will always remember the time she got to attend a Student Voice when she danced for the Moosehide campaign, and Anna plans to go on to CNC and start building her way up to becoming the best mechanic and one day running her own shop. Anna's last words are, "Listen to many, speak to few." Anna's Candlebearer is her cousin, Kian Shear. Anna is the recipient of the Demi Amaral Scholarship and the Vern Carter Memorial Bursary. Travis John Meyer. Yes. Travis came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in grade 4. He would like to thank his mom for forcing him to smile for his grad photos and his dad for being there. He would also like to thank Mr. Wood for making science engaging, Xander for making him go deaf by screaming into his mic, and Logan for all of the workplace stories. Travis will always remember the food experiments with Cameron and Xander. Travis plans to go to post-secondary and pursue his dreams. His Candlebearer is his cousin, Jocelyn Bennett. Travis is the recipient of the Regional District Area D Scholarship and the FLESS Staff Bursary. Kaylee Lynn Morton. Kaylee started her education in Kelowna before moving up north. She attended NVSS for a year before coming to FLESS in grade 11. She would like to thank her mom, Amanda, and her dad, Mark, for being so supportive from day one. She would also like to thank Mrs. Dirksen for helping her do her write-up, and Mrs. Scar for helping her get caught up when she moved up here. Kaylee would also like to thank all of her friends for making her feel like she belonged, but a special thanks to Alex for knowing what it was like to switch towns and schools. Kaylee will always remember her experiences of living in a small town and knows it's not her cup of tea. Kaylee plans to go to CNC and get her early childhood education degree, then use that while she works towards her B.Ed so she can become a teacher. Kaylee's last words are, "I came, I saw, and now I'm leaving." Her Candlebearer is her brother, Nathan Morton. Joshua Spencer Pacheco. Joshua came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in grade 4. He would like to thank his parents for their support, his siblings for trying his patience, and his grandma for always being there for him. Josh would also like to thank Ms. Paul for being a great teacher and helping him with his math, and all of his friends, Emma, Kaylee, and Ariana, for being his annoying support system. Josh will fondly remember Project Health and with Ariana. Ada, and Isabel. The time that he was the cause of a district-wide email about no decorations on smartboards, and today, walking across the stage to receive his high school diploma. Josh plans to attend CNC nursing program and follow in his family's footsteps. Josh's last words are, if at first you don't succeed, do what your mother told you to do in the first place. And Brandy, pow, right in the kisser. Josh's Candlebearer is his cousin, Abby Melchow. Josh is the recipient of the Fraser Lake Fire Rescue Scholarship, Nechako Lakes Admit Association Scholarship, the Debbie Amaral Scholarship, and the Harris and Company LLP Judith Anderson Memorial Scholarship. Michelle Darian Robert Sam. Michelle came to FLESS from Fort Fraser in grade 4. He would like to thank his mom and dad for their support and Mrs. Scar for telling him to get things done. Michelle will always remember today, his last day of school. Michelle plans to get a job and live a good life. His Candlebearer is his sister, Judy Sam. Jalia Lynn Sanderson. Jalia came to FLESS in grade 4 from Penettan Elementary. She would like to thank her mom and Ray for putting up with her, all of her BS, her grandma for all the good food, and grandpa for fixing everything. She would also like to thank Mr. Wood for treating everyone the same no matter what, Mrs. Scar for the delicious breakfast sandwiches, and her homies for supporting her throughout the worst decisions and memories. Jalia will always remember the Quebec exchange trip and all of the awesome soccer trips. Jalia plans to complete a radiography program, travel, and move somewhere warm. Her last words are, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, by Jeff Graham. Jalia's Candlebearer is her sister, Alyssa. Jalia is the recipient of the MOE District Scholarship, the NTU General Clothes Scholarship, and the Mouse Mountain Pack Bursary. Riley Catherine Schmidt. Riley attended school in Fort McMurray in Edmonton before coming to FLESS in 2020. She would like to thank her parents for being there for her throughout all the hard times, and she appreciates all they have done for her. She would also like to thank Ms. Scar and Mr. Cross for all the advice and so many more reasons. She would also like to thank Brianna, Ireland, and Jaylyn for making her time here in Fraser Lake so memorable. Riley will always remember sleeping in and skipping class. Riley plans to go to TRU to get her Bachelor of Science degree. Her last words are, do I have to wait for the bell to walk across the stage too? Riley's Candlebearer is her cousin, Emma Weber. Riley is the recipient of the Paramedics of Fraser Lake Bursary and a Centera Gold Bursary. Sean Edward Michael Stewart. Sean came to FLESS in grade 4 from Mouse Mountain. He would like to thank his mom for putting up with all his crazy ideas, Selena for always being down for those crazy ideas, and Mrs. Scar for being the main reason he actually graduated, and Ray for always letting him work on his truck every time it broke down. Sean would like to thank Mason for always telling him how pretty he is, and Nate for driving him around when his truck was broken down. There seems to be a theme here, Sean. Sean will always remember playtime, basketball, football in the hallways with the boys. Sean's future plans are to become a fully ticketed heavy-duty mechanic. His last words are, ha ha ha, shampoo. And Red Bull really does give you wings. Sean's Candlebearer is his friend Logan Rumble. Sean is the recipient of the Joel Sherwin Memorial Scholarship. Okay, Brianna, Lexi, Tom. Brianna came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in grade 4. She would like to thank her family for everything they do for her, and she is happy that she could make them so proud. Brianna would also like to thank Mr. V, Mrs. Scar, Mrs. Parsons, Mrs. Dirksen, Mr. Cross, Mrs. Brandy Best, Mr. Wood, Mrs. Plowman, Mrs. Woolsey, Mr. Thomas, Mrs. Duncan, and Ms. Miklich for helping her to get where she is now, whether it was helping her get her work done or supporting her mentally. Brianna would also like to thank Kelly, Riggs, Lyric, Addie, Ireland, Alyssa, Bethan, Mason, Tyrell, and Tia for being her best friends. Brianna will always remember hanging out with her friends every day or whenever they came to school. Brianna would like to plans to take over the world. Her last words are, "You should enjoy the little detours in the fullest because that's what you'll find the things most important to you that you want." Brianna's Candlebearer is Caleb Ketlow. Brianna is the recipient of the Bessie Whitehead Memorial Scholarship. Daniel Michael Watson. Daniel came to FLESS from NVSS in 2021. He would like to thank his parents for nagging him to get his work done. He would also like to thank Mr. Wood and Mrs. Dirksen and Mr. Cross, as well as Mrs. Scar, for helping him onto the path of success. He would also like to thank Xander and Dakota for keeping the last year fun. Daniel will always remember grade 10 and the time that he handed in his grad write-up late. Right, Daniel? Daniel plans on getting his welding ticket as well as his heavy-duty mechanic certification. His last words are, "Life is short, drive fast." His Candlebearer is his sister Naomi. Daniel is the recipient of the CAN4 and CAN4 Pulp Scholarship, the MOE District Scholarship, the Dennis Hyatt Mugbog Society Scholarship, and the North Central Labor Council Scholarship. Ireland Ilea Webb. Ireland came to FLESS in grade 4 from Mouse Mountain. She would like to thank her parents for pushing her to never give up, and her grandparents and aunt and uncle for supporting her no matter what, and Bowen and Lexa for being the best sisters anybody could ask for. Ireland would like to thank Mr. Wood for his cheat sheets, Miss Scar for whipping up breakfast every morning, and Cross for forcing her to get her steps in while wandering around the school looking for him. Ireland would also like to thank anybody who ever gave her a ride to school, and Jalen, Riley, and Brianna for keeping it real. Ireland will always remember the school parking lot hangouts and soccer trips. Ireland plans to attend UNBC to get a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology and become a success. Ireland's last words are, "Doyle rules." Her Candlebearer is her sister, Bowen Webb. Ireland is the recipient of the MOE District Scholarship, a Fraser Lake Fire Rescue Scholarship, George Petty Memorial Scholarship, and the Lowell Elliott Orthodontics Closed Scholarship. Kaylee Bell Wildman. Kaylee joined us at FLESS from Mouse Mountain in grade 4. She would like to thank her mom, Raquel, for always supporting her choices and needs, and her dad, Charles, for looking out for her and the family. Her sisters, Janine and Crystal and Ariel, for all of their conversations and support, and her brother, Parker, for caring for her and his unconditional love. Kaylee would like to thank Heather Dirksen, Brandy Best for always supporting her mental health needs and having an open ear, Loretta Scar for her brilliance and sense of humor, Ron Schmelik for the years of insightful conversation, and Brian Cross for making a change in the school and having everyone's back. She also likes to thank Jen for her continuous help through hard times and inspirational sense of self, Nova, Amy, and Ella May for their friendship, Josh, Emma, and Ariana for providing her with laughs and love over the past few years, and multiple others who she cares for that she does not want to, she's not able to mention. Kaylee will always remember lunches with Emma and Josh, art class with Amy, and long and philosophical conversations with Jordan about anything and everything, the Quebec exchange trip, and tearing up on Josh with teachers' help. While high school wasn't seemingly the best of her life, she made strong and lasting connections and learned so much. She wishes everyone the best in life and says, just do you. Kaylee plans to study art history at UVic and look into working for a museum in the library. Her Candlebearer is her sibling, Parker Lippis. Kaylee is the recipient of the MOE District Scholarship, the FLESS Grad Scholarship, and the FLESS Staff Bursary. Jalen Lindsay Weber. Jaylin came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in grade 4. She would like to thank her family for being as big and as crazy as they are. She loves you all. Mrs. Scar for feeding her and always helping with Jaylin's constant procrastination, and Mr. Wood for dealing with her through physics, chemistry, and biology. Jaylin would also like to thank her closest friends, you know who you are, who have supported her throughout all of her best and worst decisions. Jaylin will always remember the sports trips with friends and parking lot hangouts. Jaylin plans to go to CNC to get her dental assistant certification. Her last words are, "If it weren't for the last minute, nothing would get done." Jaylin's Candlebearer is her nephew, Caden Weber. Jaylin is the recipient of the Fraser Lake Men's Shed Bursary. Darian Cody Williams. Darian came to FLESS in grade 4 from Mouse Mountain. He would like to thank all his aunties and uncles for getting him back in school, Mr. Mickelson and Ms. Scar for helping him with his work, and all his friends for making school more enjoyable. He will always remember the fun of skipping class, and his last words are, "I think sleeping was my problem in school. If school started at 4 p.m., I'd be a college graduate already." Darian plans to go into environmental studies and make a difference. His Candlebearer is his little brother, McKinley Sutherland Heron. Nathaniel Charles Williams. Nathan came to FLESS from Twain Sullivan Elementary in Houston in grade 4. He would like to thank his mom and dad for keeping him on track, Mrs. Scar for all the snacks and making him do his work, Sean for answering his phone calls whenever he had a question about why his vehicle was broken, and Jalia for being entertaining. Nate will always remember all the overnight sports trips and tournaments, and his last words are, "You're not late to class if class doesn't start till you get there." Nate plans to attend post-secondary in Edmonton and become a millwright. Nate's Candlebearer is his family friend, Laken Hendrickson. Xander Michael Wood. Xander started his education in Australia before coming to FLESS in 2016. He would like to thank his mother and father for not letting him completely flunk his courses, and his brothers for always being there for him. He would like to thank Mr. Noor for making math tolerable, Mr. Mickelson for making lunches more entertaining, and Mr. Wood for not letting him drop physics or chemistry, and Nancy for feeding him every day. He would also like to thank Daniel for sticking up with the constant abuse, Jessica for selling him stuff he needed, and Logan and Travis for being amusing during breaks. Xander will always remember making Daniel eat gas station oysters and Red Bull, along with the rest of his grade 10 year. Xander plans to attend medical school, make an unholy amount of money as a neurosurgeon, bench press 405 pounds, then retire rich and happy in Hawaii. His last words are, "When's this due?" Xander's Candlebearer is his friend Kai Shively. Xander is the recipient of the Sotero Gold Bursary, the NTU Academic Close Scholarship, the Village of Fraser Lake Bursary, and the FLESS PAC Bursary. Maddie Clinton Anderson. Maddie came to FLESS from Mouse Mountain in 2013. He would like to thank his mom and dad for helping and loving him, and for giving him his inappropriate sense of humor. He would also like to thank all his teachers and support staff for being his village and always looking out for him. Maddie would like to thank all his friends for their kindness and caring. Yep.
And for laughing at his jokes. Maddie will fondly remember playing with the senior boys basketball team and all the times he got to wear the mascot costume around the school and giving everyone high fives. Maddie's future plans are to share his gifts with the world and play a lot of video games. Oh, Justine. His last words are, "Guess what came in the mail today? Maddie? D's nuts." Maddie's Candlebearer is his friend. Maddie's Candlebearer is his friend Maxwell Lawrence Irving, and Maddie is the recipient of the Western Communities Inspirational Award. You're welcome. All right, I see that we have solved our technical difficulties. So, one last thing. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2023. All right, guys, if you head down, now you can watch the video.
Traditionally, we present the Athletic, Citizenship, and Laird Awards at the Secondary Awards Day, but we realized that many of the parents miss these presentations due to work. So we came up with the brilliant idea, well, I didn't, of honoring the grade 12s during grad when family and friends could be present. Last week, we presented Mason Graham with the Male Athletic Award. Now it is time to present the Senior Female Athlete of the Year Award. This award is given to a female student in grade 11-12 who has shown outstanding athletic ability in at least one school sport and has participated in 2 or more sports in the school. The recipient must have demonstrated leadership throughout the school year, whether during competition or during the school day. Being captain of 1 or more teams will be considered, but also intangibles like demonstrated effort, determination, and dedication to practice will also be a factor. Leadership, sportsmanship, and attitude are a major factor when considering this award, along with a good relationship with teammates, opponents, and people they are in contact with every day are necessary qualifications. Being in good standing with the school for the entire season is also an essential component. All that being said, I would like to say that it has been a tremendous honor coaching this young lady. But more importantly, just knowing her. Over the years, it has been a privilege watching her grow up to become the amazing young lady she is today. If you ever watched her play any sport, you will instantly notice a few things. She is a fierce competitor. She has a motor that never stops. And she is a quite gifted athlete. Over the years, I have never heard her complain. I've never witnessed her give up or quit, because quite honestly, I don't think it is in her DNA to do so. All young athletes, whether female or male, should aspire to be like this young lady. Our Senior Female Athlete of the Year is Jalia Sanderson. Citizen of the Year. This award is given to the student in grade 12 who has given freely of their time and energy to both facilitate and enhance student activities of any nature, and also working with staff of Fraser Lake Elementary Secondary School. These endeavors could include, but are not limited to, leadership events, volunteering time with elementary students or projects, helping out with intramurals or extracurricular activities, or simply being available when needed to help school operations run more smoothly. It will be recognized that this help is voluntary and it is not required for course credit. This year's recipient is Dakota Magnus.
The third award is our Senior Scholar Award, given to the student in grade 12 who's achieved the highest GPA over the course of their graduation program. The criteria says you have to maintain at least a 3.5 over the course of your grade 10, 11, 12 years, and this student knocked it out of the park and said, no thank you, I'll take a 4.0, even on the days that it's too much hard work. We use the 80 credits minus the required grade 10s, which have already been given to the Junior Scholar, and the majority of these credits will be completed at FLESS. This student took a highly academic course load: Biology 11 and 12, Chem 11 and 12, Physics 11 and 12, Pre-Calculus 11, Pre-Calculus 12, and Calculus 12, and ended with a 93.2% average. This year's recipient is Mr. Xander Wood. So this brings us to our final award of the evening, the Laird Award. This is the top all-round student at FLESS. Over our history here, it's our most prestigious award and is presented to the senior student who has excelled in a wide variety of areas. The student needs to have an outstanding academic record. They must have achieved a minimum of a 3.0 GPA in their grad program, but more likely significantly higher. In this case, 3.8 with an 88% average. This student must also have participated in athletics during their grade 10 to 12 years. They must be physically active and have played at least one school sport during this time. Check mark. This student played volleyball, this student played soccer, and was a crucial component of both teams. This award also recognizes school service and community contributions. It's recognized by the award committee as being volunteer activities that make a positive contribution to the school and the wider community. This student participated in COVID clinics, seniors' lunches, and is involved in her church, as well as the annual Terry Fox Run. It's not on here, but having a wicked nickname never hurt. Right, Weaselfoot? This year's recipient is Miss Jane Hedstrom. All right, so Mr. Wallace is going to get set up. We're going to get a group shot, and then we're going to get the throwing the hat shot. While we're getting set up, I will go through our concluding notes. Obviously, an enterprise of today's nature doesn't come together on its own, and a ton of work went into making today as spectacular as it was. I'd ask you to hold your applause till the end because I have a fairly substantial list of people that we need to thank. I'll start off by acknowledging the hard work of Mr. Ron Schmelik, Ms. Cynthia Williams, and Dakota, Selena, and Amy, who as our yearbook class were chiefly responsible for putting together most of what we witnessed today, as well as contributing to the banner behind us on stage. I'd like to thank Wallace Studios for their continued support of our grad ceremonies and for the wonderful work they do in making our grads look so good. Mr. Mickelson and Donovan Reeves for ensuring that today's live stream ran without a hitch. The Village of Fraser Lake for allowing our dry grads the use of the arena tonight for their festivities. A huge thank you to the maintenance crew of School District 91. For the past week, our team has pretty much been on call 24/7 for painting trim, moving stuff, getting chairs, getting more chairs, moving risers, etc., etc. And I owe them a huge debt of thanks. I personally want to thank the office staff, Ms. Bryony Hedstrom, Ms. Brianna Marciniuk, and Ms. Kayla Linton for all the work they've done behind the scenes to make sure today happened. And a huge thanks to my partner in crime, Mr. Mike Leduc. For the past week, while I've been running around making sure everything was shipshape, he made sure that what we affectionately refer to as the good ship lollipop kept going in a forward direction. Last and not least, we want to acknowledge the work of Mrs. Heather Dirksen, who's been our grad sponsor this year and has been in charge of herding the cats and helping the grads get to where they are today. Tonight's parade will start promptly at 7:30 from the parking lot downtown. Grads, we ask you to be there by 6:30. We're going to end the parade at the arena with the Grand March to follow. After the Grand March, the grads will proceed to their dry grad festivities. And one more reminder, guys, bring your change of clothes and make sure your guests arrive with you at the same time. To everyone in our village that helped raise these kids, for helping them get to where they are today, thank you for your support of education in Fraser Lake. Have a wonderful summer. Don't stare at the hat. Yeah, you can take your hats off. Look up briefly.
Just move your eyes up.
We're gonna throw 1, 2, 3 up.
So it's on 3 or after? Wait, on 3.
On 3.
1, 2, throw.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stand up. We'll sort them out. We'll sort them out outside. Everybody grab one hat.
Okay, by the way, my zipper blew up.
What?
My zipper blew up.
Oh, a lot of our zippers blew up. Okay, you guys got all your stuff? Okay. Pickle's coming, hang tight.
We still have an entrance, you guys.
Yep. Okay, I'm just going to ask everyone to clear the exit way because as soon as these guys have their stuff organized, we're going to play some funky music and get them out of here. All right, hit the music. You guys ready? Here we go.